Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to the TV Terminal. My name is Adam Bale, Senior Editor over at thecoalition.com.
My name is Lawrence, aka a punk with toys on all the social medias. And maybe you guys don't know who this guy is over here, because normally he has a hat on.
Oh, yeah.
But now you're seeing. I asked you, I said, hey, no hat, but that was before you had sound when you first got on. So.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so
I saw your picture on Instagram, I think. You posted a picture on Instagram with your hair down.
I did. So what happened? My mom, she's in the process of selling our family house, and she's looking through some things, and she found an old ID. I don't know if it was college or high school, but I had long hair and stuff, just no facial hair. And I was like, oh, I don't look that different, So then I'm standing outside. My daughter was like, oh, I'll take a picture. And she took a picture, and I sent it out just saying, hey, look, not much has changed. I'm 47, but I should add some more context to it. I should have included the image that my mom sent and do like comparison. Yeah, so then now it's in, and my daughter was like, yeah, you should leave it down for the day. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, why not? And then we had talked about it before in the last episode. I was like, oh, maybe I'll let it down. So here we go, everybody. So if you're tuning in to the YouTube, you can see it.
Yeah, when you said you're like, I have all kinds of hair, and I just saw the hat, and you took that, and it's like, yeah, you haven't lost a single strand of hair.
Yeah. People are like, oh man, you look like Jesus. Should I start praying to you? It's like, what's up with this? You got the look.
Hey, Zeus.
Right, Jesus, here we go. But yeah, it's
now I'm thinking of Die Hard 3. Hey Zeus. My name's not Hey Zeus, it's Hey Zeus. I love Die Hard 3. I think
Die Hard is great. Die Hard, all of them. The last one I didn't get into. The one with the sun.
I don't think I saw the last.
Yeah, don't worry, you didn't miss much.
I went up to
the OG ones.
Yeah, I liked one. I liked it. I liked that 2 was a carbon copy of 1, but they basically say like, I can't believe this is happening again, only in an airport. And then 3 is just completely different. And I love the fact that they tied that back. A spoiler alert for a movie that's 30 years old. They tie it back to his brother, but he really doesn't even care about his brother.
No.
That's not what we're here to talk about.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't try to redo all that. I hate when they reboot and it's like, oh, we're gonna cast somebody. Let's just leave it as it is. Bruce Willis is dealing with Alzheimer's. No, dementia. Horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Bad.
But I always remember like from those Die Hard movies. Fantastic movies. Love them. It's always an argument. Is Die Hard a holiday film? Is that a Christmas movie?
Well, I say it is.
Yeah, same thing. My mother-in-law also. She's like, it's a Christmas movie. She'll pop it in.
Now, Bruce Willis said it's not, but I'm sorry. The whole movie is set up because of Christmas.
Yeah.
It's at a Christmas party. It's the only reason why he's in New York. It's like the same with Gremlins. That's a Christmas movie, whether you like it or not. So is Batman Returns, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's true. It was. Well, there we go. See, again, another tangent off on all this other stuff. And thanks for tuning in for classic movies with Adam and Lawrence. There we go. All right, maybe we'll do something like that later on. We got plans. But yeah, this is from MobLand, season 1, episode 6. Antwerp Blues. And yes, we looked up Antwerp because we were like, where is this place? Where is it? It's first it comes up where Belgium, some town or area in Belgium.
Town in Belgium. It's also a town in Ohio. But we all try and avoid Ohio as much as I'm sorry, I'm a Michigan fan.
There you go. Hey. All right.
I just was wondering, is it some sort of word I don't know, a slang or something? And it is in reference to a town. I'm assuming in Belgium.
Yeah, they go somewhere in this episode, and I wasn't sure if it was Belgium because the distance. No,
not to jump ahead, but they take a boat to get there. they had him flying Harrigan in the helicopter. If this was the other show we were doing, all right, Talking Reacher, he would have just swam there.
Yeah, he would have just swam there. He would have been fine. Not even
And we
break his
would have had
sweat.
an hour of Adam just going off on how did he just swim off?
Yeah. And how did he swim? And then the big complaint is like, oh, where did he find a phone so that we can call all the people who already know that he just swam across to Belgium? But yeah, it's episode. I'm telling people, if you haven't watched it already, if you're like, oh, let me just go watch it because a lot happened. I mean, this whole show itself is crazy. Maeve, she's gonna.
It is.
Was it Helen Mirren is gonna win all kind of awards. Hopefully she does because she's such a great character actress, and she's just pulling it off here as legit crazy.
You cannot like her.
Yeah.
And if you do, there's something wrong with you. So before we get into this episode, we did a whole show Talking Reacher, and that's what our first thing that we did, and we discussed a lot of things. There was a lot of filler in that. There was a lot of things that it was like, hey, we just need to make this 50 minutes. We need to do 8 episodes, and we only really have enough for 6. There's nothing like that in this. Everything has a purpose. I personally don't think anything has drug on. We're like, okay, come on. We didn't. I think everything is set up the right amount of time setting things up. Do you agree with this?
Yes, and they just plant seeds for other things, which we'll get
Yeah.
into. They don't dwell on it. They don't like. They just plant the seed, and it's for you to make that mental note because I'm feeling a lot of these things are going to come either later in this season, toward the end, or in a season 2. If that we looked it up, it doesn't look like it's been officially announced for season 2.
It looks like it sounds like they're about that. They pretty much all but confirmed it.
Mhm.
But you look at these episodes. This episode was 42 minutes long. The other ones have been roughly around that.
Yeah.
It moves at a good pace. It doesn't feel like, hey, we got to make this 50 or 55 minutes. You do 42 minutes. And then normally you'd say, hey, that's not enough. But I think they leave you wanting more. And in a good way.
Yeah, and there's a lot of dialogue. I could just imagine the actors reporting in for their reading, and I'm like, all right, I see like 15 pages here. Is that everyone's 15 pages? Is that all their lines? Or this is all my lines? Oh boy, here we go. This is gonna take all day. Yeah, because as we're writing this, taking the notes, and they're doing these really fast cuts from scene to different locations. It's like everyone's reading off lines. It's a lot, but it's all important. Like you just said, there's no fluff. Everything is relevant to progress this story.
It would be way easier just to sit back on my couch, watch this show, and enjoy it rather than taking notes. And again, I know some people think, hey, you break down too much, you take the fun out of it. Well, that's the whole purpose of a show like this that we do, or what anyone else does, right?
Yeah. People have watched this and probably like, hey, did I miss something? Or is there another way to interpret something? Well, that's what we're here for. We're discussing it, both of us going back and forth. Maybe both will see things differently. Maybe we'll match with your thoughts. If not, if so, go ahead, leave in a comment. Real quick, just want to get that out of the way. Thank you, everybody who's been supporting us on this new channel, plus on our other platforms. Over on the Apple Podcast, over there, we're like close to 200 subs on that one. The Spotify one is also growing pretty fast, and then of course we got here on YouTube. So we see the numbers, we see the full views. You guys are out there. Thank you. You guys are putting in. You're listening to us.
Yep. So please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, so YouTube makes sure that, hey, you know what? People want to watch this. I think we're giving you guys some, whether you're just here for our banter and entertainment, or because you actually want to hear the show broken down, please hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. It helps out tremendously.
It definitely does.
So let's get into this episode.
Oh, and one last thing. We are covering Murderbot. That's something that I brought up. Just want to let you know that's starting May 16th.
May 16th. It's a
2
Friday.
episodes are dropping. Yep, those are Fridays. So that's on Apple Plus. Go watch it, and then you can come in and hear us talk about it because we are covering that. That's the next one. All right, so let's get into it. So as we all know, that's it for Vron. She's done. She went kaboom, the car. There goes that. The detectives show up. They take a look around. And like,
there are only 2 detectives.
There are only 2 in town. It's a small area. They haven't really clarified the name of the town. It's Anytown, UK. There you go.
That's what, and that's why when they, when we looked at the name of this, Antoine, like where is it at? Like not Antoine, Antwerp.
Mhm.
We really don't know where they're at. Like
Yeah.
we don't know in reference of how far away they are. So
Could be fictional. It could be just a name
exactly,
that they just dropped. It might not even be real. It's like, well, looking too into it, and someone leaves in a comment,
yeah,
that's all fiction. It's not a
like
real place.
Sunnydale in
Yeah,
Buffy the
Sunnydale.
Vampire
There
Slayer.
you go.
It's a fictional town on a
Uh,
hellmouth.
yeah. Well, who's not fiction is Donnie's boss, because Donnie's back, visits
Yes.
Zosha at the garage, and says, "Hey," she calls up Harry and says, "Hey, this dude's here again. Donnie's back. All right, put him on the phone." And then he says that he works, and we were looking this up. And hey, leave in the comments if you heard something different. We heard Cap McAllister, right?
Yes.
Cap.
Yeah.
It's weird the
The
way he
thick
says it.
accent, and sometimes how fast they speak.
Mhm,
We'll back things up 2 or 3 times and still not
mhm.
catch everything.
Yeah. There we go. You know what? Maybe we would have had subtitles on. See how, but even that can't be 100%. I've had some times
Yeah,
where subtitles are on and it just
we didn't even
ripped up
think
the
of
whole word. It was like, no.
we didn't even think about that. Do we even have subtitles
Yeah,
with what we're watching?
we turned it off. I turned it off. Remember how
Oh, yes.
it was on? I was like, oh, this someone who put this on, bro. I don't want to read
You
it.
know what? That's probably not a bad idea when we decide to back something up. Like, let's turn this up. We'll have to remember that for future episodes.
Yeah. That's see, there. You're right. Once we rewind it, then
Probably
we'll
would have
bring it
helped
up.
us out a lot.
Oh boy. Yeah. But so Harry goes quiet, and then Donnie mentions that to Joseph. It's like, oh, your boss went quiet on this one, and then hands the phone back. Says, "Here, hands the phone back," and Harry tells Zosha, so remember the number, don't write it down, and
Yeah.
then send him on his way. So he knows something about this guy. There's
And
something there's a past, but this is what we're talking about, like seeds planted. This is it.
yep.
This is the last time it gets mentioned in this episode.
Yeah, and in this episode, we don't get any flashbacks to the prison guard. So, I mean, this is a full war episode.
Yeah. Everything is going down in this
Yep.
one. Right. So then once Harry gets off the phone, he gets a call. And this is it. Right. This is
Yep.
where he finds out with Kevin, all this stuff. Something just went down. Right. So then Kevin, then he calls Kevin, tells Kevin, go get Bella, get ready. Now he's like, go find her. We're gonna all meet at the compound, Conrad's. Then Harry is freaking out with this whole thing. Right? Then he calls Jan. We see Janice hanging out with her new bestie, Alice. I
Yep.
mean, there's something shady. That's just me personally. If I just meet somebody and then they want to keep hanging out and calling me all the time, let's hang out. I was like, you know what? Something's wrong. Something's wrong. I just met you and now you want to go for coffee every other. I guess Jan doesn't work. Does she work? Right? She doesn't. I don't think they ever brought that up.
No, I don't think she does.
Right? And same
But
thing with Alice.
I think we have a deeper problem that people don't like you, is what you were saying.
That's
Like
probably it
you
too.
meet people and they're like, and now don't get me wrong, no one wants to hang out with me either. So
No, but hey, you know what? There you go. Maybe that's why I can't relate because no one ever calls me like that. No one ever says, "Hey, we got to go hang out, man." I was like,
if
"No."
somebody called me and said, "Hey, you want to go get some coffee?" I'd be like, "Why?"
Right? I meet them. I call them up and like, "Hey, let's hang out." And they're like, "Oh, that's great. Who is this?" I was like, "Hey, it's me, Adam." I was like, "Hold on." Static.
Complete
Gotta go.
side note, like I have friends that like I don't see that much, and I always feel weird. Like, hey, do you want to go get dinner? I don't know why it feels weird to ask your buddies if you want to go get. It's one thing if you're hanging out and you're like, hey, let's go get something to eat, but
Oh, all
I don't
right.
make
All
dinner
right.
dates with my buddies.
I'll one up one. Here's one up for you. That one. All right. So one time, a buddy of mine, not gonna say his name. I doubt he's listening, but still, it's not right. So we were good friends. We would hang out and stuff. He says, "Hey, let's go see this movie. Let's go see." And I'll mention the movie, The Patriot. Remember The Patriot? Mel
Oh, I
Gibson.
love the
Awesome
Patriot.
movie, classic movie.
I
Love
love
that
that.
movie.
Oh, I love
He's,
that.
let's go see it. All right, cool. We go get popcorn and everything. We find some seats. We're sitting down, and he's like, "Yo, we create some space." Like what? Space. I was like, what? We're sitting down in the theater. Like, he gets up and he moves over
The buffer
one
seat.
seat. The buff, is that a thing? I'm like,
Okay,
I was like,
so we are way on a tangent, and I don't care. I used to go see movies with my old buddy Brandon all the time.
Mhm.
Never thought twice about it. We sat down. I mean, I never thought about it. I guess if people thought we were gay, then they thought they were gay. It didn't bother
Yeah.
me.
Oh, we're
But
talking.
I was listening to the radio one day, and they were talking about the buffer seat, and they went into it, and he's like, "Yeah, when you go with a buddy, you always have a buffer seat." And I was like, "Why?" Now, this was before you had to assign seats, but I'm like, "Why would I have a buffer seat? I'm not planning on making out with this guy next to me. So what do I don't."
And then what if somebody comes in and sits in between, and let's say you just want to talk to your buddy, like, "Oh, you saw this," what? You
Okay, well,
can't.
let's wait. If someone just comes and sits in between you,
It could be a packed theater. Let's just say, I don't
well,
know,
okay, if it's packed, because
yeah.
that's how movies used to be,
Mhm.
you should. Again, I don't. Yeah, but that's the buffer seat is a real thing. I didn't know about it, and I've never done it because I think it's absolutely stupid.
Yeah, I couldn't believe, and I'm trying to enjoy this movie, but I kept thinking about, I'm like, we've hung out, and I'm thinking about all that. We've never gone to the movies. We've gone to bars. We've hung out with other people. We're doing all this stuff. I'm like, this is kind of weird,
So,
and I kept wanting to bring it up. But I was like, no, I'm not gonna bring it up.
okay,
Whatever.
we're totally on a tangent.
Yeah, there we go.
I had a girlfriend that I remember we she got mad at me because she's like, every time we go out to eat, you always just sit on the opposite side of the table. And I went, what? Like when we're at a booth? And I was like, what? And she's like, you never sit next to me. I'm like, why would I sit next to you
Do
if it's
that.
just you and I? Like,
Yeah,
I'm not like, yeah,
you have
I'm
to
gonna
look
look at you.
across. You always look
It'd be one thing
across.
if we went out with friends and I sat across from you and not next to you, but and it like she was a little loony. I kind of hope she's watching.
Yeah, yeah. You see now, go ahead, people in the comments. What do you think about any of this? Do you believe in the buffer seat process with friends, and then when you go with your girlfriend, wife, whatever, do you sit next to them in
Sit
a
next
booth
to her
or
in a
across?
booth. It's if there's no one across, like I was like, why would I sit next to you? That's
No,
the
no.
stupidest thing I've heard. The buffer seat, I can go, all right, but why am I going to sit next to you if there's no one across from us? Wow,
Yeah,
we're on a
no.
way. We're
We're
on
way
a
off, but you know what? It's fine. This is what it is, people. Thanks again for subscribing and liking and listening to our little ramble here with all this. I don't even know how we started this whole thing.
It
But
doesn't matter.
anyway,
We made it here.
the show still hasn't technically started because the intro hasn't kicked in.
No,
Because
we didn't
then,
get to the intro, have we?
no, we haven't even gotten to the intros because we got Harry freaking out. Now he's calling Jan and saying, "All right, where are you?" and all this stuff. But then it cuts back to Detective Fisk. He's talking to his partner, and he was giving this whole thing about uh, basically saying this is war. This
Yeah.
is it. This is what it means when something like this happens. This isn't just a murder. This is going to be war. Then we get our cool intro, and all that happens. But yeah, a
But
lot happened.
but as soon as Jan leaves,
Yeah,
she calls the detectives.
yeah, and lets them know. We still don't know if she's a CI or if she is a
Yeah.
cop. But she
Um,
definitely tells her, it's like, yeah, she just stormed out of here, so something's going down. So
but then
it's
we have
definitely,
Harry walk in and just take his daughter out of school.
yeah, yeah. She was just taking some big exam, and it was funny too because the way they set this up, and it's interesting. Like again, we said everything has a purpose here. Every scene,
Yeah.
every line. It could have just had where she's already taking the exam and he walks in, but no, they start off with the professor or teacher. I think she's in high school, right? And he's walking around. He's talking about the type
Well,
of
she's
pen that you have to
16, so
use, and he's going over the process and what you can and can't do. The whole spiel. We've all been there when we take like an SAT or something like that. And then that's when the dad comes in. He was like, "Excuse me, sir." Oh, he was like, "I'm the father. Come on, we gotta go. We gotta go." And he puts a hand. Now I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen something like that. I don't think a teacher will grab a parent like, "How dare you? I know this is your child, but this is my classroom." No, no. I think being a parent,
well,
trumps what a
but you know
teacher
what?
is in that situation.
You got to think at 16, you're in high school. Most teachers don't know who the parent is. It's not like elementary school where
Yeah.
you would have parent
No,
conferences.
that's true.
So.
That's true. But he said who he was. He said he was. I mean, and she
Well,
agreed. Now, if
again,
she would have said, "He's not my dad, help
it's
me,"
still
then
how
we got a
kids get
bigger issue.
abducted because they're like, it's my child,
Yeah. Oh man.
All right, well, let's not get on that one.
That's a whole other one. Oh boy. You see, all right, see now I'm lost now. Oh boy. All right, all right, all right. So then they head over. They pick up Jan. Everyone gets in the car, right? We got Gina. She's upset. Clearly, she's like,
Yeah.
"What's going on? Why is this happening?"
She
And
just wants a normal life. Like she just wants a normal life. Like she
think
knows there's
about
something
this.
not normal about what her dad does.
Well, wait, let's say she's 16. She's made it pretty far without anything crazy happening then. Because if this is his life, if he is the fixer for this mob family, you would think this would just be one of many times something crazy has happened where he had to just get his family in
Doesn't
hiding
sound like
from
they've
just
ever
for
gone to war before. At
no.
least not since she's been, since she's been.
But he's killed people and he's had people. I mean,
And it's
this
true. I
show
mean,
started with them wiping out two other rivals.
you figure. I mean, Jan did say in an earlier episode, I didn't want to. I never wanted. I told you I didn't want to know, what your job entails. Of course, then she says, I want to know where you've
Yeah,
right after.
exactly. That's all she cares about. That's it.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously nothing's happened for well over 16 years, which I agree with you, kind of strange, but
Kind of strange, but hey, this is it now. But they get to the compound. Kevin's there, and then he starts telling Harry, he's like, I think I know who did this. It's like, oh, mom, what? Yeah, I think she did this. And it's interesting that he brings that up because yeah, we pretty much assume everyone could that she's involved in this. She's loony. Boop, boop.
yeah.
They get to the house. We got everyone there in the kitchen. They're all talking about all this stuff. And Conrad, Kevin is like, "Oh, I can't believe this happened." And Maeve, and she was like, "How dare you blame me for this?" It's like, come on now, we know. But big surprise, big twist. Conrad's like, "No, I did it. I did this. I set this in motion." And I know we thought, no, this has to be Maeve because the way she set it in motion, telling Eddie that time when he sat in the room and all. But maybe this was it because remember, was it the episode 2? Was it the one with Archie where he was talking about war, already going to
Yeah.
war? So maybe he did have that idea.
But we said that Maeve seems to be the one that's pushing for it,
Yeah.
and Kevin, he's the only child with the backbone, really. But Brendan, they have no respect for, and Saraphina, she's only a half child, so
So she's
Maeve's
not
not
in the
going to listen
house.
to anything she has. But Kevin clearly is the one that's going to take over at this point, and he's the one that sees it for what it is. Why are we going to go to war? There's no reason to go to war for this.
The one key line to take away from this whole section here for anyone that saw this and maybe it went right over their head is what Harry says when all this is going. He says, it doesn't matter who gave the order. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So is he that much of a soldier to the family that he doesn't care? It could have been the dog barking. Right? He's like, I'm doing it. He doesn't care. He will do whatever this family wants, no matter who says it or gives the order. Because I was surprised when he said that. Because you would think he would think like, well, this is going to cause problems and war. He's been the middleman. He's the fixer. He was there talking to Richie, trying to calm things down. He's putting himself in harm's way all these times. And so you would think he would care who gave this order because now they're going to war. But no, when he says that, it's like, it doesn't matter who gave this order. Wow. All right. You are a soldier to the family for life.
Yeah.
For life.
But then someone does ask where Brendan and Seraphina are. They say they can't get a hold of them.
Mm-hmm.
And we get our Harry pretty much tells these two to find out where they're at, right?
Yep.
And these two just always have this. Okay, boss. Okay. Boss.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. That's as much as the lines go. See, that guy doesn't have to worry about his scripts when they come.
No.
Oh, okay. I'm on page 4. I say, okay, boss, and let me
Okay,
flip
I have
the
to nod. All right. Okay.
I guess that's all I say. Oh man, maybe I can still make that lunch meeting later on in the day because I'm not going to be on set that long. Okay.
Hey, you know what? The guy's still pulling a paycheck, and he's probably like, I said 4 lines this episode. Look at this paycheck.
He's in the show. I'm sure he has viewing parties with his mates. They're like, yo, look, you're on there with Hardy. Oh,
and he has actual scenes with Hardy.
Oh yeah.
So
with everybody, he's there.
Here I am in the corner right there. Like, which I would.
mhm.
I mean, if I was, I'd do that.
Yeah, you know what? That's it. Well, let's sign up. Let's see if we can get on this show. Who knows?
So
Be an extra. I'll be an extra. So but then this is it. This is where we get a call coming in. Harry gets a call, right? And they're like, "Who's calling?" It's like, "Well, it's Freddie." If you don't remember, Freddie was the inside guy that flipped. This is the one that Harry had dirt on, that was
yep.
having an affair with Ron and the whole thing. So he's calling, but it's not Freddie on the phone. It's Richie. So then Conrad says, "Hey, put him on speaker. Put him on speaker."
Now this part, I was
Mm.
this. This is when you start to hate everyone. I think.
Oh yeah.
Like for me, the whole scene just kind of. I already didn't like Maeve and Eddie, but at this point, Conrad just. Wow.
Oh yeah. How's your morning? I could send my dog over there to clean it up. And I
Yeah.
mean, oh man, he was just on a
Ron's in more
rant.
pieces than your son. And then he says, "Here, Eddie, come here and tell him." And then Eddie just basically goes off on Tommy
He
saying how like,
confesses. He also confesses. I
yeah,
hope Richie was recording this call because he doesn't say anything to incriminate himself. Richie, that is. But
yeah,
Eddie and everyone else, they just spew it all on this line. He's like, "Hey, I killed Tommy. He squealed like a pig." Wow.
he begged for his mom. But we never see
No, we never
at
saw
this
that.
point, we don't see how Richie's acting. Like we don't hear him, we don't see. So you don't know what he's acting like. You don't know who's in the room with him. Clearly, he has his own army.
Mhm, mhm.
So very interesting for Conrad to do that and kind of throw Eddie out there.
Yeah, yeah. He's quiet. Conrad notices he's gone quiet. Oh, you got nothing to say now. La, 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 la. Still talking smack. And then Richie just says, "Run." And that's it.
Yes, very calm and very
Mhm,
collective.
mhm.
You know,
Well, this is why I don't understand when it was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do this war." Well, okay, that's fine. This is for Conrad. You want to do this war? You want to start this war? You get everybody safe at home because the next scene is where they're like, "Well, how come Brendan and Saraphina aren't here?" "Oh well, they went on this trip or something. We gotta go find them." And then that's when Harry sends Kiko to go find them. But what I'm getting at is, if you're gonna start this war, you're always putting a target on every family member's back right now.
and why
This
wouldn't
is
you have them all centralized
yeah,
before you
yeah,
did?
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm
Because
saying. It's like, don't bring
it's
them
not
here.
like
Send them
yeah,
away.
it's not like Ron was going to get blown up and then like, oh my god, they were able to trace it back to us. I think that was
Yeah.
like that was the first person that you're going to look at, or first family, shall I say?
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it in so many shows. That keeps coming to mind. Yellowstone. Whenever something happened, they're like, "Oh, we're going back to their house. We're going back to the ranch. That's where they are. That's where they live. So we'll just take them out there." Yeah. I mean, it's not like they went to hide somewhere else. Oh boy.
I hope that I hope this new series of Yellowstone. I hope it gets shot up again too.
All
Hope that
right.
house
All of
gets
them.
shot up like
Shoot all the ranches up. Everybody. Let's break out all the guns here. Oh boy, but yeah, let's get to the next part here. Oh, the Jan and Bella hanging out. Right? See,
uh,
this is a weird
this.
exchange because
This is just uncomfortable. All right, like I feel uncomfortable for Jan, because
but we really don't know. That's the
that's
thing.
that's what I'm
We don't
saying.
know. We don't know if there was an affair with Bella and Harry. We know that Jan doesn't like Bella, right, from the last
At least that's
episode.
the impression that we're getting that she doesn't.
Well, she said it when they were talking about the funeral. And I was like, "Oh, is she gonna be there? Is Bella gonna be there?" She said it with like this attitude, like, "Oh,
Yeah, but she never actually says I don't like her. She says something about
yeah,
like I was contemplating a fluid slide today.
yeah." You
Uh,
see, oh well, go ahead, people. Leave in the comments if you think it's a love hate relationship. What if they were friends? What if they were friends and it was like a choosing of who can get Harry? And it mainly came down to Harry picking Jan
but
over
remember,
Bella.
well, Bella was already
Oh yeah, she was part of Conrad's
with
little.
Conrad's little harem,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and then passed on to his son, which
But
is
we don't know if Jan was part of that. We don't know. We don't know her
you
backstory
know, you
because
know,
she said, remember, she was telling her therapist. the whole thing about the
The
Harrigans
way
and the
that
family.
the way he
Yeah.
approached her in the
Hmm.
last episode, and the way she did not want. Well, we'll get to it in a second.
Oh yeah.
But she didn't want Gina around him. So
Hmm.
I'm kind of thinking. I'm thinking along those lines.
I think you're
Like
right.
Conrad is, yeah. Well,
But
no, but then she would know. I don't know. That's weird because she would then know everything that Harry's doing.
mm, it's going to
Anyway,
be interesting. I have a feeling that they're leaving a lot there for our
yeah,
imagination, and I'm sure there's going to be more that comes out later on in the episodes. Or it's still, see, this is the plan. This is why they write things the way they do, because it builds a discussion. It was like, oh wait, what's really going on here? Because
yeah.
Bella's end, she was like, hey, listen, take this pill, probably something to calm her down. She's used to this type of stuff. This is Bella.
She does make a comment about that. She's glad she took that pill or something.
Yeah. Just take it. This is part of life. This is what's going down with them. But
So,
oh man.
but did they even talk about anything important?
No, that was
They
it.
don't.
At least at that point, they go back to that room. At least the camera does. We go back
Yeah.
into it, but not during this scene. Nothing else happens. Oh man, let's see.
I mean, this just looks. Yeah, like
This was a
this
lot.
is one of those like you walk into this room and there's your ex and your current, and you're like, I'm so out of here.
Mhm. But we do know something else, that Kevin is still upset with this whole thing. He doesn't like the whole process, everything that's going on. It was
No.
during the same point where Conrad was like, if anyone disapproves, just say it now. He says, "Oh, you're pointing that at me. No one else here is going to speak up because he wants to go to war, and it doesn't seem like it's a good move." But hey, this is what he wants to do. He's not even scared about the Mexicans because Kevin had brought up the whole thing about, well, um, Richie works with the Mexicans. That's how he gets the fentanyl. And he's like, yeah, well, put him on the phone. Call him. It's like, I don't know them. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
well, then we meet them. And they're like, oh, yeah, many years ago back in Vegas during a Lennox Lewis fight, there was, I guess, a Mexican warlord, drug dealer boss, whatever that was there. And Conrad offended him.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, well, that guy's dead. That guy's dead. Yeah, well, his son is now running everything. So I'm sure he doesn't care too much.
He said their only contact was the guy that Conrad kills.
Yeah.
That was their what was his name? Archie. That was their contact, and Conrad killed him. So no contact.
No
And
contact.
we kind of do see that come up later on in the episode.
Now this
So-
is the no. Go ahead.
No,
I was just trying to figure out because I'm looking through my notes and I didn't write it down, but I didn't. Now think about it. I don't think they brought it up. How did they know that Saraphina and Brendan were in Antwerp?
Oh, so what happened was, I believe they pinged they found her car, that she was at a port, and they're like,
That was it. They tracked the car, and then
Yeah.
that's
So
when
they
Maeve.
tracked the
I'm
car.
like, Maeve. She filled in all the blanks. So, oh well, you only go to Antwerp if you're trying to transport a large amount of money.
and
Instead
they
of
knew
getting on
that
a plane.
they knew that she had dealings there before, so she knows her way around there.
Yeah. So they're like, all right,
It's
and
not uncommon for her to be there. I mean, it's not like she's going down to a drug house in Detroit. She's going to a pretty a pretty big city here is what it sounds like.
that's what it sounds like, and to a hotel. Oh, they're assuming the same hotel that she always stays at.
And it's a
then
very
at this
nice
point-
hotel. So
Yeah. And Conrad starts flipping out at this point. He was like, "Oh, well, we got to find them. We have to get them now. Harry, you go get them. You go get them. And take the helicopter. The helicopter comes, and he gets on the helicopter, and then we see from the window, Bella looks over, and now she says that's sexy. Now is she saying sexy as in sexy for Harry or the helicopter?
Okay, but before that, when Harry comes in and says, "I have to leave," and then asks he needs to speak to Bella alone, and that's when he brings up the whole Antoine. Can you put a pin in it? And she's like, "I'll think about it." But he's talking to her in private, which probably isn't helping anything with how Jan feels about this whole situation.
But even that, and again, that's just them just cleaning things up for people, the viewers, us that were watching this. and just trying to say, hey, they're not going to bring that up. Well, you'll get this one scene here. They'll bring it up. And it's like, put a pin in it because a lot of other stuff is happening in this episode. We don't have time
but it
to
is
go track the.
it's a 10-second clip, where maybe in watching Reacher, as much as we liked it, that's a 2-minute
Oh, yeah,
section.
yeah.
This is a 10-second, hey, can you wrap it up? Can you put a pin in it at least? I'll think about it. Not even yes, I will. Just I'll think about it.
And then she still plays that whole thing. It's like, well, you work for the family. You work for me. Whatever I need, you do.
I'm getting a little tired
matter.
of this. You work for the family. At what point does Harry go, listen, motherfuckers, sorry, you guys are still alive because of me?
Yeah. But he doesn't. And he doesn't even say that he works for Conrad, because you would think at some point he would say, no, I work for your father. And I don't think your father would approve of these type of side projects that you're doing. He doesn't say any of that. He never talks back. He just
don't you work for the you work for the Harringtons? Like, exactly. No, I work for your father. Like, we've had other people in other series, movies that say that. No, I don't work for you. I work for your father. I work for your mother.
Very weird, that whole thing. But then back to that. So then, he takes off. He's in the helicopter. He's off to Antwerp. But Bella says, "Oh, that's sexy." Now, I don't know if he was referring to the helicopter or to Harry, but I'm bringing this up because then Jan had said, "Not anymore." Yes. So I'm assuming this is Harry.
Yeah, there's more. Like, she just wants a normal life.
Mm-hmm.
At least a normal life with Harry. She was already gonna see a solicitor, which is a lawyer. I just like using that.
A solicitor. Yeah. Oh, you my solicitor. Oh boy, I'm gonna get in trouble for that one. I'm just saying it how they say it, people. I'm just saying it. We just don't call them that here. But even this, was it Leonard? I wrote down Leonard, but she called him something else. It's another way of saying Leonard with her accent. Yeah, Leonard or something like that. It was fun. Oh boy, I'm getting in trouble. But I'm just saying.
I believe Leonards were the knockoff G.I. Joe figures back in the day. The old the old cheap O-ring figures that no one ever wanted. You can get some Leonards. No, I don't want
Leonards. But hey, she meets up with this guy. Maybe he does that on the side when he's not selling these precious gemstones. This whole thing sounds shady, and I'm glad that Saraphina is picking up on this. So they're meeting up. They talk. They're sitting across from these guys. It's Saraphina and Brendan. And the guy's basically saying, "Here's the rules. We have all these precious stones worth millions and millions. We're giving you a good deal. Why? Because they're stolen. It's illegal. But we work for a higher power, another guy. Now he wants, the $2 million deposit, right? And then they're all going to go to another location where they'll do the exchange for the stones." And Brendan was like, yeah, okay. She was like, no. And then he says, if you guys don't like this deal, then you can F off. And Saraphina, she just jumps in there. She's like, oh, then I guess that's it, because I don't like this deal. I'm not going to give you money up front for something that we don't know about. And I want to bring my own security. And he was like, well, you can figure that out and then let us know. And then she was like, all right. And then they walk off.
Saraphina is the shrewd one. She is a smart one.
Yeah.
By far. Which probably is another reason why Maeve doesn't like her. If she was maybe dumb, then she'd be like, wow, Saraphina's dumb. She did make a comment to Conrad earlier about that those are the two weakest links. Now, Brendan, yes. Saraphina is not a weak link other than the fact that Maeve doesn't want her around.
Yeah. I think she even brought up later on calling the location where Conrad had an affair with Saraphina's mom.
I don't.
Oh yeah. It was something I'm talking about. It's later on. We'll get to that when they have that scene in the bedroom where we weren't sure about the hug, if it happened. Hey, everybody, again in the comment, let us know if you saw a hug.
I thought that was in the prior episode. That's when she basically tells her.
It comes up again here.
Does it?
I'll look at my notes when we get to it. It was when they were having the whole discussion in the bedroom of like, oh, you're working with the devil when you talk that way, and it was during that exchange. But so she then decides that Seraphina's going to talk to Lorenzo. Lorenzo's the other guy that came along, and I guess he's the muscle in a way. And she tells Lorenzo what's going on. She doesn't trust these people. Everything sounds shady. she wants him to come along and then assist and all that. And now he wants percentage. He wants a cut. It's like, how much? And then they start going back and forth about numbers. I'm just throwing it all together because there's a lot of other back and forth, but let's just split this part up. Then she goes over to Brendan, says, all right, this is the deal that we're going to offer. We're going to take pretty much taking a cut that he was going to get, and she's going to give it to Lorenzo.
Yeah, I'm taking 90%. You're getting 10, I think is what it was.
Yeah. And he's like, what? This is my job, isn't it? It's like, let's get it straight. You want to do this for respect from your dad. You want Conrad to respect that you can make a deal like this. It's not even.
But he can't do it without her because she has all, she has all the knowledge. She knows everything about these jewels or whatever. These rocks. They're rocks.
Yeah, exactly. And clearly, and then she's smart and she's doing it all quick. And
she's very smart. Mm-hmm. And that's what I love about this character is she is very smart. She's very shrewd. You can also tell she doesn't do everything on the up and up, or else she wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah. She's not. I mean, she's part of the family. She's still.
But I don't
Harrigan.
think she's involved in fentanyl. So
no. But then no one brings it up that they're concerned about that part. The only one that did is the one that's dead. It was Archie. Yeah. So I guess that's why they all say quiet on that one. But he shakes hands. He's like, all right, fine. And then she walks back over to Lorenzo and says, 8%, that's all I can do. And he's like, all right, that works. Let's go.
Yeah. Probably should have asked for more.
Well, remember they were going back and forth on numbers.
I know, but by the end of the episode, he probably should have asked for more.
Oh, yeah. If he makes it out, I don't know. All right.
So we get, Saraphina walks out. She calls somebody, but then we get Conrad, who sits down
the creep, Gina. The creepy. So go ahead. Well, Gina's sitting outside of the compound, and he walks over and starts talking about, to be young. What are you? How old are you?
Yeah.
I'm 16. Oh, yes. Never kissed, never punched. She was like, I've kissed and I've been punched.
What a weird set of things,
I guess this is what pervy guys say. This is it, to get the conversation started. But so it talks about that. I was like, oh, yeah, I've been kissed this and that. It's like, well, who punched you? Oh, it was a girl. Oh, yeah. And what did Harry, did you tell her? No, I didn't tell me. Why? I don't need him to fight for me. I don't need him. He was like, who fights for you then? Well, I fight for myself and my mom. And he was like, oh, every woman needs a man to protect them. I can protect
them. And so,
he's being real creepy.
And this is really weird because when this is the point where if you sat down with your friend's daughter and you're like, hey, you're trying to comfort her, right? She's just sitting there. You're not telling her this is my favorite step. That's creepy in itself. But you're sitting there and you're talking to her and she's like, my dad doesn't care. This is where you'd be like, your dad does everything for you and your mother.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You may not see it right now, but he doesn't.
No.
He doesn't.
He's a creeper. That's why.
He's saying, come sit on my lap.
Yeah. And then Jan comes out just when this guy starts bringing up that whole thing. It was like, I'll be your protector. I'll protect you. And then she's like, Gina, come inside. Come on. And then he looks at her and he's like, you know what? How about you, Jan? You come and sit over here. It's like, I don't care. If I can't get your daughter, I'm going to get you. I'm going to be pervy with someone here.
And this is the first time I think that we see somebody basically tell him to screw off. Because he's like, well, sit on my favorite step. Come sit here. And she says, my daughter's upset. And she walks away. And during this process, he's kicking that step. And you can tell that he's getting more and more mad, even though they're not showing it. You can just hear the sound of it. Yeah, so he doesn't normally get told no.
He's definitely a creeper. Oh, man. So, she's inside. They go inside. Gina's upset. Why are we here? Why is this happening? Random questions, too, that she says, oh, do you love Dad? Why would you? I mean, she blows her off. She's like, no, why would you say something like that? But of course she loves him, or else they wouldn't be there. Because she would have easily just left.
And I find this dialogue now a little strange because you go back a couple episodes where when Harry walked in and she's like, she's mad at you. Say you're sorry, right? She's like telling her dad what to say. And so those questions seem kind of odd, right?
Yeah,
unless
it was
that hey, I heard mom talking to a solicitor and that she was going to see one, or I heard her talking to a friend about it. Who knows? But I found that dialogue a little odd, asking those questions. But it is something that I guess
I don't
again
know.
it happened so quickly. It doesn't. I don't consider it
Yeah,
like I
no.
can't believe they
Yeah,
went
like
down.
that. Yeah, that I didn't understand. I guess they were just trying to show that she was super upset and comment,
Yeah,
why are we here? What's going on? This and that. The real question is like, what type of work does dad do? Can you please explain to me? Because I'm sure she doesn't know. Jan
yeah,
knows, but I'm sure she doesn't. And then that would have made more sense of all the stuff that she started rattling off. But then Conrad goes inside, and then now he's talking with Maeve, and they're talking about Saraphina and Brendan and the whole shebang there, and how he trusts Saraphina, that she's smart with money
yeah,
and she's a great businesswoman. So whatever deal they're making, he's like, yeah, but that's our money. And he's like, oh, that was a judgment of character. And that's when Maeve, took that jab. Oh, really? And then what about that location? I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. I blanked. But I thought the way I took it is that she's taking a jab saying, oh, about that one time you went to whatever place, met her mom. And then that's where Seraphina popped up.
yeah.
That she was trying to throw another jab, because whenever she could throw a jab, whenever Conrad's talking
Oh,
positive
anytime.
about Seraphina, he'll do it. She will do it. But he gets upset by the whole thing, and he says, oh, the devil's in you, or something to that effect. And she takes that as a compliment, but then it jumps over where Maeve is hanging out with Eddie. Right. And she's,
This is creepy too. Like,
oh man.
there's just so much creep factor that you don't. It's like there are undertones of these creep factor. But Maeve and her little love for this guy is creepy, and maybe this goes back to what I said, that maybe, just maybe, that this is Conrad's kid, not Kevin's.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. The way we're getting all these crazy scenarios
Yeah,
and possibilities, and crazy grandma over here pulling all these strings and doing this, I wouldn't put it past this show to throw in a curveball with that. Because yeah,
no.
like you said, real creepy. Come over here, get me a hug. Oh, I missed you so much. It's like, oh boy, oh boy. Oh, have you ever played chess before? Oh no, I don't play. Yeah, me neither. I don't know anything, but I do know something about it. And then what was it? Some of the pieces that you would have to sacrifice certain things.
Yeah,
Right. That's
and
one of the
so
things.
this is where she calls
She calls
Richie,
Richie. Yeah.
and wow, like I can't even imagine if I'm Richie picking up this phone to talk to her.
Yeah. That was he didn't even understand it. And he was like, what's going on? Now she hints they've had a relationship. Like, oh, we were good friends, maybe closer than friends, and so
That's what
maybe
I got out of it.
yeah. So maybe at some point in their younger days, they were also an item. There was a lot. There's so much that this show can do if they decide to do it. Meaning, let's say season two isn't so much of season two progression. Maybe if they do like a flashback of everyone younger, sort of like what we had with 1923, even though that was
Yeah,
way early. But I can see them doing it, showing how these two, with Richie Stevenson and Conrad Harrigan, how did they develop these two warring families? How did that whole thing come about? And we know that Maeve was part of this whole thing since day one.
she
So,
wanted in because she's
mhm.
not born into this.
No,
This
she
is
wanted in.
Conrad's business.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, she calls Richie and basically gives up where Seraphina is, but says, don't touch a hair on Brendan's head, or else our
Mhm.
friendship is over.
Yeah, she'll come down on him. She
Yeah.
pretty much threatening. It's like,
I'm
but
sorry.
Seraphina's fair game, and I guess whatever the money that's there and other things, that's all fair game, except
I th-
Brendan.
I thought that when you had my son killed, that was the first straw. And then if that wasn't it, then you
Mhm.
blew up my wife. And I thought, okay. But now you're saying if I touch Brendan, then yeah, our friendship is pretty much over.
Yeah, yeah. But she hangs up. I don't think we ever heard Richie say anything, right? He didn't say okay.
Nope. He never says
Right?
anything. But then right away, we see him turn and talk to his guys and say, get the Mexicans.
Yeah, he got the Mexican. So that much we do know. And then next scene is with Harry showing up at the hotel. Now, this was one. If there's any gripes that I have with this is the key one right here, especially in this episode. because
Well,
Harry
no,
shows up.
well, no. Before this, we have a lot of back and forth during Maeve
Oh yeah,
and
well,
the discussion of the jewels.
that was I think that's what I was skipping over with the whole thing where she was dealing with telling Lorenzo
Yeah,
how she thinks it's all shady, and then when he wanted some money involved, and then she went and she talked to Brendan, and then basically told him off, and then offered the 8%. Because they were doing the cuts back and forth. That's one thing this
yeah,
show does a lot of cuts in between. Like, whoa, wait, what's happening? We're seeing it's almost as if we're having two conversations happening at the same time.
yeah.
So
And
yeah,
not good when you're trying to break down a show.
yeah,
Like,
definitely not good. Not good. But you guys watch the show. You get what we're saying. We're just trying to do this whole recap.
all right, I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah, yeah. All right. No, that's fine. I was just drinking some. All right. So then Harry shows up and he's talking to the guy at the front desk. And like I said, this was my only gripe. My only gripe because it just doesn't seem, I don't know where this comes from. So he tells the guy, he says some weird name. I forgot what it was, but he just rattles something. He's like, "Oh, do you know who that is?" It's like, "No, no, so I don't have this." Like, what about this one? "Oh, no, no. Oh, you know what? But I bet your wife and your daughter probably be inappropriate if I show it to your daughter, but they would know about, at least your wife would." And this whole thing. So basically, he has dirt on the guy at the front desk, and he'll expose all this unless he tells him where Seraphina's room is and Brendan's room.
It did
Why did he
seem a
have to do
little.
all that?
It seemed a little out of character. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it didn't
right.
seem it didn't make much sense because I'm like, well, we know Seraphina goes to this hotel all the time, right? The whole family knew, and this was his first stop. So, okay, all he has to do then is like usual, like, hey, I'm just looking for so and so, and maybe slip some money, like, hey,
Yep.
there's a 50 spot. Can you just tell me the floor or the room?
Yeah.
I'm a friend.
It didn't seem like there would be a reason for him to have to for him to actually have to blackmail.
Hmm.
All this guy is doing is, hey, yep, here's your room. Probably knows who she is. Okay, don't let anyone know that you're here. Not a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's weird, but right before that had happened, it was another quick cut because we see that Seraphina is in the room, and Brendan comes in. He was like, "All right, they're ready to go, ready to meet. We're gonna go to the spot, right? Because they're gonna do this exchange." And I knew for me this alarmed. I was like, once I've been in hotels. We've all been in hotels. If you do bring a laptop and stuff, you close it. You don't leave it open. Even if you think no one's gonna go into your room, there's still the cleaning crew or somebody coming by. It's always a possibility,
for
but
the
still,
most
either
part,
way,
yeah.
no one leaves it open, and
Uh,
especially unlocked. Control delete, lock it. No, she leaves it open. And the reason why I bring that up is because then once Harry shows up into the room, the dude makes it seem like he's waiting for a tip. Really? This guy just threatened you with dirt
he
on
did,
some
didn't he?
shady stuff that you do online. And he's like, "Oh, no, no, you know what? Never mind, never mind. I changed my mind." Oh, no. But he sees Harry sees the laptop. He sees it's already open, and he gathers some information from there, and then instantly calls. All right, so
Yeah.
he calls. I think was that Lorenzo that he was calling.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
So
Lorenzo.
yes, Lorenzo's phone number. He calls him and basically says, "Hey, is he asked for Seraphina? Does not ask for Brendan."
Hmm.
And then he says, "Hey, do you know a Harry DeSuso?" And Brendan takes it,
Yeah, yeah.
and he
Oh,
goes off on him. You work for the Conrad or the Harrigans. Don't
and
call again.
what's with all these kids talking down to him like this? That really gets to me because clearly Harry's been part of this family since he was a kid. Right? We
Yeah,
saw that in the flashbacks. So you would think, if anything, they would have just the utmost respect for this man, for everything that he's
yeah.
done for the family. But no.
Maeve has no respect for him. Brendan has no respect for him. Eddie has no respect for him. Him and Kevin are super close, and Seraphina clearly looks like she has, the respect for him, knowing what he does.
Yeah, yeah. The car stops. Brendan gets out the car and just goes off on Harry. This is my job. This is he's like, hey, I have to get you back home. Your father wants you. I don't care. This is something I'm doing, and you're not gonna mess this up. And blah 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 blah. And then hangs up. And Seraphina's like, what's going on? No, you get back in the car. We're doing this deal, and I don't want to hear it.
Threatens to leave her, and
he's gonna leave her out in nowhere land because at this point they're further away. They do a good track shot, far out shot, and you can see there's like nothing around.
Yeah,
so they're going out to the fields. But a whole back and forth. But once they get in the car, Harry keeps calling on Lorenzo's phone. Brendan says, don't even pick it up. At this point, Saraphina knows something's going on. And she
which is kind of weird because Saraphina is the one that's contacted them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
she's the one that's paying them. So I'm kind of surprised, but I guess you needed to work for this episode, right?
Yep. But hey, she's the one that sends the pin. Right, she sends a pin over. He sees it. This is Harry, and then he looks around real quick. There's a guy getting on a motorcycle.
He steals a motorcycle.
Just chucks them all, puts on the helmet, and he's off to the races. Just boom. Now he's off. Right. So then we head over to see where Seraphina. They get to the location. Right, it's like a shady warehouse in nowhere land. Right?
This warehouse is in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere. That's it. She sits down at a table. Another guy comes out. He takes a little baggie. He drops all these little gems. She takes out her little tool set. She starts examining everything. It does another quick cut. We see that Harry is just flying down the highway now. Now it's dark and he's just like zooming. He already knows. Well, maybe he doesn't. I'm assuming he does. He thinks something bad is going to happen.
Well, I mean, you figure. I mean, he was told to bring them back.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't really, even though Conrad said both of them, clearly Conrad, I don't think really cares too much for Brendan.
He probably doesn't care about anybody at this point.
He cares about Seraphina, like that's clear.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kevin, he's not always happy with. He seems, even though he trusts him more than, his son that's lost him millions of dollars.
Yeah, they ruined all kinds of things for him. But this is it. This is where all the action happens here, because then once she's checking everything, I guess it was good, right? That's it. Yeah, she doesn't say it, but she tells Lorenzo to come and bring the case. And this is the part that threw me off because I don't remember them agreeing. Because before he wanted the deposit, remember? Wanted the deposit up front. So I assumed that meant deposit like into an account, but no, she had the whole money up front. Yeah, it's all cash. It's a cash exchange, which I guess also now think about it when Maeve gave the whole reason of going to Antwerp and taking it. It's like if you have a large amount of money. So they were carrying it all in cash. Yeah. Whatever. But they have a machine, the other group, and they're cashing, counting the money. And once they say everything looks fine, the lights go out, then just guns blazing. We're shooting and everyone's running around, chaos going on. Doing another fast cut. Harry's racing. I even said, I was like, there's no way he's not going to make it. This is not going to happen.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. And again, I also did not. This is what I did not want. I didn't want Harry to get there. And then we have a final scene like we did in 1923. When the son gets there, or the grandson, or whatever, and he just starts mowing people down. I know we didn't cover this, but we talked about it.
Oh yeah, he's a great shot. He just cleaned the house. Mm-hmm. Well, that was good. That was a great scene.
So we do see pretty much everyone get taken out by what we assume is the Mexicans, because that's what they said.
There was a lot of them. A lot of people showed up coming in, and then they point a gun. Right, with a flashlight over at Brendan, who's on the floor, and he's on himself. He's crying and stuff. And then there's one that's doing the same, pointed at Saraphina.
Now we know that Saraphina is the target due to Maeve.
Yeah, Saraphina is the target. Now, here's the question: do they have a picture of Brendan? Because if not, he looks just like all the other dudes out there.
I would assume that it would be sent over, that they know who he is, right?
Maybe. I mean, Saraphina sticks out because she's the only female in the group. So then that's it. If that was the target, then that's it. They were like, oh, well, it's got to be her. Take her out. But we don't know. We don't know. That's where it leaves. The credits roll.
And that's it.
Dun, dun, dun. It's like, what happened? Who dies? Tune
And
in
this
next
makes
week.
me, and unfortunately for us, we don't have the next episode yet because I might say let's just watch it,
Mm.
but I never make it because I'm about to pass out.
Yeah. There we go. I
But
don't
that's
know.
it. And we get this action pack, so much stuff going on throughout this episode. There's so much setup, and there's still so much intrigue on what's going on. Like we don't know what's going to happen with this, with the
There's a
prison
particular one.
guard.
We don't know about the prison guard situation, right?
Yep.
The flashbacks, all that stuff. Boom, that's one. We don't know the whole Antoine thing with Bella and
Yep.
dealing with the dad, wanting to meet the prime minister and all that scandal. What's the point of doing that? Where is she going with it? We don't know. There's Maria still with the mom. Why does Maria matter? What's going on here with the old home? What is that connection? Don't know. Jan clearly has a backstory with all of this.
Yes.
Yeah, and we don't know. Hopefully, we'll find out the backstory with Bella and Harry. We don't know. Donny and Captain McAllister. What's up with that? We don't know.
And that's the biggest thing because that's going to be something huge. All right. And I have a feeling that's going to lead into season 2. If there is one, just because when I Googled about is there a season 2, there might be a few hints of what might be kind of spoiling it. I'm not going to say anything because there's a lot of people don't like that.
No. We don't want to spoil. We don't spoil anything.
And there's no spoilers for it, but there was one thing that I caught and I went, oof, okay.
Yeah, but
that's about it.
This is good. This is good. A lot of twists, a lot of turns. I have a feeling they're gonna do some character deaths, key character deaths. I mean, it just makes sense at this point that something starts happening here. We definitely know that some characters we want to die.
Yeah, I can't stand Brendan. I can't stand Maeve. I can't stand Eddie. Conrad, I'm still like, why are you defending her? Because it still feels like she said it, and he's covering for her.
Yeah, well, because remember he was like, "Oh, this was always Plan B. We had Paul put the explosives in weeks ago."
Yeah, that was kind of strange, but
yeah, so it's like, maybe he is covering for Maeve, and maybe he wants to take credit. So it's not so much cover; it's taking credit. And he doesn't want to make it seem like, oh, it was all Maeve's idea. And it's like, oh, really? So she's the one pulling all the strings here, which she is.
You know what? That could be it too.
Oh, well,
that's where we're at. Now we have to wait a whole week to find out what the hell happened.
A long week. Oh boy. All right, people. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for following, subscribing, liking, doing all that stuff. This all helps for all of this. We have a lot of plans, a lot of things you want to do. We know you guys are here for the ride. We can see it in the numbers. Just stick around. That's all we're asking. Nothing crazy. Hopefully you appreciate and you like all this. It's fun.
But that's it. But please, if you're still here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and also give us both a follow on YouTube or Instagram or wherever you're at.
Wherever. That's it. It all counts. It's all in the pot. That's it. All right, everybody. Let me see. Anything else?
Don't double fist above you like that.
Oh, I hate when people do that. Like double fist. What are you? Whoa. Slow down here. I don't need any of that. But and also on the channel, I'll be back next week. Well, I guess the next day, I should say, because this is going covering The Last of Us, episode 4. So that'll be here too. And that's it, everybody. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, everyone.